Welcome to the Wellness Growth Show, where we dive into the strategies, systems, and stories behind building scalable wellness businesses. I'm your host, Scott Schumann, growth partner to wellness and health tech founders who are moving beyond one-to-one delivery and into organizations, employers, and institutions. Each week, I sit down with the people actually doing the work, founders and operators growing mission-driven platforms that create real impact and sustainable revenue. Whether you're pivoting from B2C, landing your first corporate wellness contract, or scaling into institutional partnerships, this show is here to meet you where you are with honest insights, tactical conversations, and zero fluff. Let's get into it. Today we are sitting with Diana Benoist, owner and director of 105F. Welcome, Diana. How are you today?
Hi, Scott. Thanks so much. I'm great.
Absolutely. I would love, could you share your journey of becoming the owner of 105F Hot Yoga and Pilates and what motivated you to take that leap?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of a funny story, actually. Everybody asks me this, and most people are a little bit, I'm not a typical journey, I think. So I actually was working in public education. So I spent my first 22 years of my working life working at a public high school. I was an English teacher and then transitioned about halfway through my career to working as a school counselor. So I had a position that was kind of more similar to social work and then traditional school counseling, mostly because I loved teaching. But what I really was drawn to was connections with students and really helping kind of realizing how important mental health and wellness were to being successful in education. And so then I started to get a little bit jaded, to be honest, after COVID, working in education, and started to kind of look for how to transfer into doing something that had all of the best parts of education. And then also a little bit more of a focus on, I think I was ready to work with an audience that was a little bit more captive and motivated to improve their own wellness. I often felt like the adolescents I was working with, the kids were a little less about it was almost like kind of forcing them to work on getting better in terms of wellness and mental health. So I wanted to do something where I had a little bit more of a captive audience. And through an interesting series of connections, my husband happened to meet one of the owners of 105F around the time I was looking to maybe start my own studio or kind of work for a studio, something with yoga Pilates. Met one of the owners and through another business connection, and she shared that they were kind of looking to sell. So 6 months later, after attending a lot of classes at the studios, meeting with the awesome prior owners, we did a deal and we embarked on this crazy adventure. My husband had lots of experience with business and entrepreneurship. I had zero. I had lots of passion for yoga and Pilates and group wellness, group fitness. And I thought, hey, I'm pretty good at working with people. I know this industry as a consumer. Let's give it a shot. And fortunately for me, the prior owners were really willing to stay on and mentor me and help with the transition
Oh,
to
that's
being
amazing.
owner. And if they had not been willing to do that, I would never have been able to get to the point where I'm at now. It's been just over 2 years and it's been a crazy adventure. I've learned a ton. But yeah, that's kind of how we wound up where we're at. So
Okay, wow. Kudos to them for staying on too and helping to that transition. They want to see you successful as well. I love
for
it.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
what does a typical day look like as the owner and director?
A typical day is there is no typical day, which is actually one of the things that I love about this business. And so today is, I guess, a day that would be sort of typical. I have 4 studios and they're all in the city of Chicago. They're all kind of all over the place. And I live out in the suburbs. So a typical day would be sort of a hybrid between working for the business and working on the business, right? So today I'm teaching a Pilates class at 11 o'clock at one of our studios. So I tend to kind of revolve my schedule around my teaching schedule and design my teaching schedule in that way. So I typically teach a couple times a week. I try to teach at 2 different studios during the week. I try to teach over a 2 week period at all 4 of our studios if I can, so that I'm physically present in
Okay.
each of the 4 studios. Ideally that would be once a week, but really it ends up being about once every 2 weeks. I'm at each studio. So I'm getting a little FaceTime with clients. I'm teaching, which I love. But then the other parts of the day, I'm working a little bit on the business, right? So
Okay.
today is a payroll day. doing payroll, meeting with you. Usually I have some sort of meeting or behind the scenes like strategy, something, and
Mhm.
then spending an hour or two doing the business of the business, right? Accounting things, bookkeeping. Sometimes I have a meeting with an employee if I need to. So
Okay.
I kind of am always trying to balance that physical presence and face time and teaching with all that goes into running the business from behind the scenes. So there's usually some sort of hybrid of that. A little bit of physically
Okay.
present, a little bit of FaceTime, a little bit of behind the scenes. I mean, the
Well,
best part are definitely the teaching and being with the students and all that,
yeah, no, just that social interaction, right? I
for
mean,
sure.
that's, yeah, building those relationships, partnerships, whatnot. So when you mentioned the hybrid though, when you're kind of behind the scenes and working on the business, are you at an office or are you at one of the locations? Because I know you've got to
Yeah, I have
balance
found
that
that it is
out or,
nearly impossible to get anything done while I'm physically present in one of the studios. And that's a
people.
good problem. It's because when I'm there, I want to be standing behind the desk chatting with students. I want to be present with
Yeah.
my employees. I want to be having meaningful conversations and building connections and all of those wonderful things that contribute to community. And like I said, that's the best part of the gig, right?
Yeah.
But because I'm the owner, when I'm in the studio, everybody has something to say to me, right? Everybody has a thought, an opinion, an idea, which is awesome. But for me to sit down at my computer and actually like get something productive
Yeah.
done, nearly impossible when I'm at the studio.
It's like,
The time
it's
just flies by. It's awesome. It's great. But yeah, I'm not going to get anything done. So no, I do my best, most productive working on the business from home behind the computer. It's more than I imagined it would be. That I do need that time. So I try to carve
yeah.
out one full day during the week where I am
Okay.
just working from home. Like I need one full office day a week. If not one full day, then I have to do like two big chunks.
Chunks. Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't have that, I start to get behind and the email gets out of control. So
You try to keep up.
Usually Wednesdays, which is today, is my
Okay.
home office day, but I scheduled a few things and I'm teaching today, which is not typical for me, but that midweek day usually becomes pretty important for me.
Okay. And then like I don't know if it's off topic, but just thinking about that deep, like creative time that you need to work on the business. Do you do that in chunks? Is that like an hour long or a couple hours or,
So
and then,
yeah, I've been doing a lot of that lately because we're trying to refocus some of our member engagement strategies and retention strategies. And
okay.
I do, a lot of that is like playing around with our like our POS system and our like end-to-end user system where we do all of our booking and marketing. It's called Wellness Living. There's a million of them out there. Mind Body is probably the one that
Mind body for
people
the,
most
yeah.
know. I've been trying to dig in a little with that, and that is very hard to do in short bursts, right? So I tend to need a good 3 to 4 hour chunk of time
Okay.
to kind of have fewer distractions and really engage with that. I also do a lot of reading. So I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I spend a lot of time in the car driving to and from all the studios and all of that. So I tend to like do a lot of thinking when I'm driving, do a lot of reading. And then, yeah, I need a good like 3 to 4 hour chunk of uninterrupted time. So that usually happens like middle of the day. Studios are not as busy middle of the day. So I'm less likely to get interrupted with a text or a phone call. My kids are at
Yeah.
school during the middle of the day.
Okay.
So that's when I tend to find that time to really focus in.
I love it. Okay. So thinking more like when you are there and you've got multiple locations and you're going to see you've got 65 employees. So what strategies do you use to foster that positive work environment? Just, ensure good communication amongst the team. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's tough, right? That's one of the biggest challenges, and I've talked to a lot of other studio owners, and they say the same. When we make a change or we want to do something, trying to get 65 mostly part-time employees, all of whom have other jobs and other things, and maybe only work for us once or twice a week. It's really hard to get everybody on board, and so one of the first things I did when I took over the business was really took a look at making sure, first of all, that we have really clear expectations and job descriptions and roles and responsibilities so that everybody knows what their role is and everybody
Oh,
understands what piece of this crazy system they're responsible for. There
yeah.
wasn't a lot of that in place. So I spent a lot of time just developing a really good employee handbook, we spent a lot of time with our marketing firm actually on building a brand identity and doing some like mission, vision, values work. So really making sure we understood so that we could communicate what our mission is, what our values are. And so as a part of onboarding, really talking about that with employees and fostering that sense of identity for everybody so everyone knows who we are and where we're headed. And then really simple things too, like we have lots of checklists and lots of, this is what we do once a day, this is what we do once a week, just to really make sure that everything is super clear and we have lots of resources. But then, in terms of community, I think like we have quarterly meetings, which is not enough, but with 4 locations and everybody kind of bouncing around, it's still just really hard. We encourage our staff to come and take class and practice and be a part of the studio culture as a student. Almost all of them do. And that helps too, because when you're taking class with your colleague, and you're taking class next to your students, it really helps to build that community. I try to take class at least once or twice a week. Doesn't always happen that way, but when I do, I'm always reminded how important it is just to be there, standing next to somebody, sweating next to them, sharing, in that experience, and then chatting after class and, really trying to help them be part of the community in both of those ways. Many of them work for us because they want to also engage in the community, and all of our employees get a free membership to come and practice as much as they can. So that really helps. And then I started this past year I really stress the importance of feedback. So giving one another feedback in a constant, casual way, but also in a formal way. So I formalized a teacher feedback process where one of our management staff takes a teacher's class and then engages in them with them in conversation after. But I also invited at the end of the year, everybody to participate in what I called alignment discussions. So alignment, refers to good posture or good, in a yoga posture, Pilates movements. I liked that word alignment, but also a way to engage with me as the owner, just kind of open door communication. So really invited every employee to schedule a conversation with me to give me feedback, and to help me understand their perspective, get to know them a little bit better, and just talk about what their experience has been as an employee and what goals they have. And I did it in December, and it was such a great, great, great experience. Just no agenda, right? Like just schedule
Yeah.
a 30-minute conversation with me. Let's just chat. And I loved it. So I will definitely do that twice a year, I think. I'm going to do it again this summer as a way of just connecting with them. But then we also
Yeah.
we have a lot of special events and other things we do to kind of help grow the community that way. But it is a challenge. It is actually I noted it as one of my biggest challenges is managing a part-time staff, keeping them engaged and helping them feel a part of the team when it's not their first, it's not their career for most of them, right? It's like something fun they do, teach yoga a couple times a week. It's tough, but I love working with them. I have great, awesome people. So that helps a lot.
I love this idea, this concept too, though, how they're sitting in and being a student as well. And that opportunity, it's like being able to be a part of the class, watching the teacher, someone else teaching, that gives you, I would imagine, an opportunity to go, oh, that's really cool. I like that. I'm going to incorporate that into mine. Or vice versa. It's like, hey, can I give you some little feedback? Like as a student or customer, what other people are seeing that maybe you don't see it, sitting on
Yeah.
the other side and being able to have that open dialogue
Well, and
idea.
it's a
That's great.
vulnerable thing, right? I mean, so what
Yeah.
I've tried to focus on is not so much giving each other feedback, but asking for feedback, right? So
Asking.
if I'm the
Okay.
teacher and I have 3 other teachers in my class, which sometimes happens, making sure that I go to them and I say, hey, like, can you give me some feedback? Or I'm trying to work on this. Can you, during class, like, I don't want to interrupt your practice, but like during class, can you just like, I'm going to ask you after, like, just give me a little bit of a tidbit, right, of knowledge, and
Okay.
coming from a place of growth always, and being humble enough to realize that you're constantly learning and growing and getting better. I mean, I've been a teacher in one form or another my entire career, and you have to constantly be open to feedback and being able to grow and realize that like there's so much to learn and there's so many different ways that you can reach people. So your way is never the only or best way, right? There's always something to learn from everybody else. So I think fostering that and encouraging people to be open to that is huge.
Okay. You talked before about your retreat program and how it's a significant part of your business. So, what contributes to the success, and then how do you market these retreats to attract future participants or ongoing or repeat?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for asking. So the employee that I have who I inherited, she came with the business and she's amazing. Her name's Kylie. She runs our retreat program. And I think that what she and I have talked a lot about and what is a real recipe for success with our retreat program is that we really think people love going to a cool destination, really focusing on wellness. So a lot of times I'll hear people say, like friends or whatever, that they need a vacation from their vacation when they get back, right? Like it's a vacation, it's fun, but like it's go, 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 or it's party, 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 right? And maybe they're not taking care of their body and mind on vacation. So I think we've tried to really create an experience where people can do both. They can explore, they can have a great time, but they can also focus on their wellness and some self-care. So we offer practice class twice a day on our retreats, usually a morning and an afternoon, a yoga or Pilates class. We really try to create an experience where people don't have to stress or think about it, right? So we give them a schedule, we give them a menu, they show up, and once they arrive, we really try to take care of them, right? So
Okay.
they can take the stress out of planning or thinking about it. They've got their meals are provided for them. They have the opportunity to take care of their bodies and mind. We provide some like experiences that really focus on wellness during the retreat, but then we also give them some freedom and just say, hey, like go explore, and I think there's something magical about group travel as well that I I have found that most of our people who come on retreats come by themselves or maybe with one other person, but we have a lot of like single solo travelers, right, who come
Okay.
and they're just looking for to meet interesting people, to do something so they can balance like time by themselves and what they want to do versus like also having that group experience of, finding something new or experiencing something new with new people, building relationships and connections. And our retreats, we always have a lot of people from our studio community, but then people find us from all over the world. So it's usually this cool combination of like people from our community, repeat retreaters, and then new people. And so then you see those people back in the studio or you invite them to the studio and it becomes this like little retreat reunion. So I think it's a combination of recognizing that travel and vacation can also be about self-care and wellness. And, not that we don't have a little fun and like have a glass of wine in the evening, but when I've gone on our retreats and helped to, teach on our retreats, it's like you come back refreshed and energized rather than coming back like exhausted, right? So there's a time for taking care of your body and relaxing and making genuine connections with people. We need that so much, right? That it feels really good and it feels motivating. So that, and then just taking a lot of the stress of the planning out of it for people. Kylie does an amazing job of if something goes wrong, our retreaters like never know it, right? Because she's just behind the scenes and she's figuring it out. And
Next step.
that's
Next
what a
step.
lot of
Yeah.
people struggle with travel, is it can be very stressful. So I think she does a great job of being organized and meticulous and taking that part of it out of it for our retreaters. And they have a great time.
Such a It's such a great opportunity too, because people are going there for similar things. You're like, people, I'm going to go hang out with people that want to take care of their bodies and find new ways and connect and have some fun activities as well. Not that taking care of yourself isn't fun,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just a great opportunity and to build long potential, partnerships, friends, whatnot. So kudos. That's
Absolutely. Yeah, we always have like a WhatsApp group chat for the retreat, right? And so even
okay.
like months after the retreat, people will be,
Still,
dropping little things or like little updates in
yeah.
the group chats. And it's so cool to see that, those connections. One of the things about group fitness and group studio atmospheres. Like, I really truly believe there's something magical that happens. Anybody, especially now with like all the resources out on the internet, like anybody can practice yoga or Pilates in their living room or in their basement in front of their TV or in front of their laptop, right? There's something about coming to a space and experiencing that challenge with other people who are also doing that and feeding off of the energy that other people bring and
Oh,
having that sense of community and accountability, right? And common goals. There's something really super important and magical about that. And it's why I wanted to get into this business, but it's what keeps me coming back, right? And When
Yeah.
we think about building member engagement and member retention, I have to remind my staff, I just reminded them yesterday in our management meeting, like whether people realize it or not, they are here for connection. Like whether that's a conscious choice or not, they could work out at home alone. They could go to a gym and put their headphones on and do their workout and leave and never talk to anybody. That's not what they signed up for. That's not why they're here. So whether they knew it coming in or not, they wanted to feel good, but they also wanted to be around other like. So we have to tap into that. We have to make personal connections with people at the desk when they come in. We have to make eye contact. We can't refuse to let people check in on their own app. You have to come to the
Okay.
desk. We actually physically make people sign their name in because it gives us 30 seconds to sit there and talk with them and ask
Oh,
them their
okay.
name, check, like reference them. Like we want them to have that personal connection because it is so, so important. And our retreat business, I think, is an extension of that. And they
Okay.
feed off of one another, right? They allow people to step away from their regular lives and just build those connections and focus on themselves. And it's really powerful. It's missing. There's a lot of loneliness happening in our world right now, and gyms, studios, fitness is becoming what, they call it's a catchphrase right now, the third space for people, right? You have work, you have home. Everybody needs a third space where they can build connection and feel like they belong. And I think that for a lot of people, their yoga Pilates studio or their gym or that is becoming a space for a lot of people. And we're trying to really work on how we provide that and how we nurture that.
That makes sense. So how many retreats do you try to do a year?
We do, I think right now we have six
Wow,
retreats.
6.
Yeah.
And are they all outside of the country or do
Yes.
you have some
Yes.
in? Oh,
Yeah. So our
wow.
next one is actually, we just wrapped up literally yesterday, a retreat in Bali.
Okay.
And that was kind of a two different locations in Bali. We'll be in Greece on the island of Morgos in
That's an iconic.
July. That's
Okay.
a new destination. I'll be going on that one too. That's a new destination for us. Portugal in August, September. And then we have two different locations we do in Mexico, one in December and one in January. And then we're kind of
Okay.
teasing out a couple of new locations. So yeah, super
Ah,
fun.
I love it. Got more in the works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now let's talk about the challenges and solutions, right? What are some of the biggest challenges you face as a business owner and how you
Yeah. So I kind of already mentioned challenges with staff, right? Staff
Yeah.
management is huge. Finding and maintaining great people. I was so lucky when we bought the business, there was already an awesome management team in place. I have some super strong people that were already have been a part of the business. I didn't mention this, but Mike and John, the previous owners, started 105F in 2001. So it's been around a long time. It was originally like a Bikram yoga studio, Bikram Yoga Chicago, and they've kind of evolved and changed with the times. So I took on a business that already had some awesome people, but I've hired a lot as well. And I've sort of reorganized our management team just a bit. And yeah, working with that many people, it's a challenge, and managing all the different personalities and, keeping people engaged. So I would say staff management for sure. And then this is going to sound silly, but this is a 7-day a week, like 14-hour a day business, right? We have classes as early as 6 a.m. and as late as 8 p.m. And we are 7 days a week. So we
Wow.
are never, there are a couple hours here and there where all four studios are closed, but
Yeah.
it is few and far between. And I, as the owner, feel like I am constantly on call. And that is very different from the world of education that I left, which was very regimented and like very like, here's the bell schedule. And like when school is out of,
Lunchtime.
yeah.
Kids are out.
And when school was out of session, I was not expected to like be reachable by my students, right? And I had 10 weeks off every summer where I quite literally
Oh,
could not think about my job, right? And I could engage with my family. So while I have a very flexible schedule and there are so many awesome things about it, being on call and feeling like I can never truly turn it off or check out. I always need to be available. That combined with the fact that all four of our studios are in old buildings in Chicago, hot yoga, thousands of people in and out of our studios every day. Stuff is constantly breaking. We are constantly dealing with, one of our
there's always
studios, like I
something.
said, it's like 25 years old, right? So like there's constantly stuff that needs to be
Oh,
repaired and maintained and fixed. And, we've got a roof leak happening at one of our studios right now. A toilet went out at the other one. And like, I am not handy. Neither is my husband really. The previous owners both were. So like they would like just run on over and like fix something up. And that's not me. So having to deal with like the constant need and then like stuff breaking and the maintenance stuff. I mean, that's the thing that like
Yeah.
nobody tells you, right? And if you can't get it fixed, your business is not running, right? And people, there are certain things that like we gotta, it's an emergency, right? And we don't want to have to cancel classes. We don't want to have to disappoint people. So, and that stuff is costly as well. So I would say that has been hard, that constant management. And that is something that I did not fully, like I knew it, but I didn't really understand how much that was going to be a life change for me.
It's been insightful. I appreciate this. Thank you. Tell the audience how they can reach you.
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram. We're 105F Hot Yoga. You're also welcome to email me. I love, love, love connecting with other people in the industry. I think it's so valuable. I've got so many great mentors and friends now that I've met, just to kind of commiserate sometimes, but also just inspire one another. So yeah, I'm always feel free to email me. It's Diana Diana at 105F like Frank. So Diana at 105f.com. Happy to connect with you via email. I don't run our social media, so you are welcome to DM us, and my social media person will forward your message as well. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can find me there too.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much.